So now that my 2-month hiatus from YouTube is finally over, and yes, I pretty much did not upload because YouTube will do nothing for your videos in these boring winter times, we're jumping right back where we left off, looking around Zealand and its fortifications, and found several interesting spots, like some interesting restored bunkers to a fortification so well hidden. The Canadians did not know they were assaulting a fortification until they were right on top of the bunkers they thought were actual houses. So welcome back, hit that like button, subscribe to get us to the 60k mark, because we're almost there and we want to get this year going again with many more videos. But enough of that, and let's start this video. Oh, and for some nonsensical reason, mainly because I'm a moron,
Yep, you are.
and this is becoming some sort of Panzer picture tradition, I'm recording again during a storm. Really a storm. This time it's really a storm. It's Storm Eunice, and it hit the Netherlands and my backyard is totally destroyed at the moment, but okay. Let's go on with the video. During World War II, the Atlantic Wall was a system of coastal defenses and fortifications extending along the coast of Europe and Scandinavia, and in this 3,200 mile long defense you will have dozens and dozens of types of different bunkers. A lot of the time the size and strength of these fortifications are usually exaggerated, and the Germans would use anything they would get their hands on, from 17th century forts being reused to modern captured military fortifications, and at these places they would use on many occasions equipment that was old and outdated. Each of these places would have had their type and way of camouflage. They either would be painted in a 3-tone camouflage or just blending into the environment, either by being built on the pre-existing buildings or by sand and nature. In some places the camouflage would go to the next level, and they would get dressed up as houses. They would get a roof, maybe a wooden or brick exterior, or it was all just painted on. Sometimes these buildings were so extremely well camouflaged, the Allies had no idea it was an actual fortification. This wasn't just an invention of the Germans, the French would also implement this tactic into the Maginot Line, and several bunkers were pre-made and shaped as houses. A lot can still be seen today, and I find these bunkers particularly interesting, and it seems that back in 1940 one of these bunkers held off the Germans for several days just because of the surprise element. Even the Swiss made several of these fortifications and they look pretty convincing. All of these have pretty much survived today. I have to note that the Swiss did not just make them to confuse the enemy. The area these bunkers were made in would see a lot of tourist traffic, and the Swiss thought that normal bunkers would scare off the tourists. Sadly, the German fortifications are not so fortunate, and pretty much all of them are gone. The only original piece that I could find was this bunker roof part from a bunker that was dressed up as a house on Utah Beach. And here in the Normandy there were several fortifications that were camouflaged in this way. Probably the most well known one is the Batterie d'Azeville, which only was painted to look like a few farmhouses, but never really had any wooden add-ons, and they did not really fool anybody in what they really were. Today some of the fortifications are restored to what they would have looked like back then, but it's really rare to actually see any restoration projects that go this far. And for the popularity the Normandy locations have and the amount of tourists it gains every year, the bunkers don't seem to get the love they seem to deserve. And I find that particularly weird, because if you look at the Maginot bunkers, Festungwalcheren, or some of the bunkers restored in Belgium or the Netherlands, it's all in a much better condition. And that's where we are now, in the town of Vlissingen. Here you will find the only German-built bunker that was completely restored to what it would have looked like back in 1944. And it has a saddle roof, several painted on windows and doors, and a fake chimney. This bunker was actually restored in 2014 and is now part of a small playground. This bunker was actually part of Landfront Vlissingen, which consisted out of an 8 km long anti-tank wall backed by concrete bunker positions. This bunker would have been part of position Ritthem and was a command bunker for the surrounding bunkers. The actual tank ditch would have stopped here and would be replaced by Dragon Teeth. Today most of the bunkers are gone and only a small part of Dragon Teeth are left. From here we're heading to another location that still has some bunkers that were restored back to what they would have looked like back in 1944. Stützpunkt Krimhild. This fortification was built on the secrecy in 2 sections, all as a modern suburb. It would have had several bunkers camouflaged as houses and one as a cafe named Mosseland. The position would have had a command post, a hospital and 4 battery locations, which 2 of them would have been an open ring stand. The location would have had its own road system and trees were planted around it to make it look like a real town. It was actually so well camouflaged, the Canadians that came across the defense position did not even realize they were attacking a bunker complex and just went in thinking it was a town. The cafe is what I am the most interested in at this point. The bunker is a Type 134S and it was modified to have better access for medical stretchers. The bunker still has some of its original paint and brick walls, because a lot of these bunkers weren't just painted, they were dressed up with a fake roof and a fake brick wall as well. This bunker would have had some sort of shed, probably to make it look more like a permanent residence. But I will have a look at all of this in another video. I hope you enjoyed this shorter format of videos. It's a way in giving you guys more content since I don't have the time anymore to make a video every week. If you want to support the channel, think about supporting me on Patreon or become a channel member. I will see you in the next one. Holy